MrBeast is this top YouTuber who does over-the-top videos. And when I saw the title for his latest video, I said, are you serious? Like, is this a thing? Can you really do this? And he titled this thing, 1,000 Blind People See for the First Time. Which, I mean, that's click-worthy. That's going to draw you in. That's going to get you going. And I thought, can they really do this, though? Here's a little bit.
In this video, we're curing 1,000 people's blindness. It's gonna be crazy. Most of us see the world like this. But here's the thing, 200 million people see the world like this.
And so it talks about how there's so many people out there that have these severe vision problems. They're blind, and they're trying to tackle the world like the rest of us. But one of the most jarring things I've ever heard is in this video. And they said about 50% of blind people can have their vision restored with a simple procedure. And so they really were able to restore vision for 1,000 people. They got the responses. They're crying. They did it not just in the United States, but all around the world.
So I imagine that 50% of people that are visually impaired, they can do it with this procedure, but I imagine that there's a lot of, loops to jump through, maybe expensive.
That's a great question. I have a lot of them, but we're going to talk to Jeff Levinson, who's a surgeon. Dr. Levinson is in Jacksonville, Florida. He's the surgeon who did this, who worked with MrBeast on this video. Dr. Levinson, are you there?
I am.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
Hey, this is kind of exciting, huh? I mean, this was a big, big moment, and I think this comes off in a really positive way. And we may even have people listening in the audience here today who could benefit from this. So the first thing I want to walk into here is, how did MrBeast get a hold of you? Like, how did this all come together that ended up with you being in this YouTube video where 1,000 blind people see for the first time?
So for 30 years, I've had a program here in Jacksonville called the Gift of Sight program, where we do free cataract surgery for people who can't afford it otherwise, through an organization called Vision is Priceless. And I'd also done a TED Talk about 5 years ago. The TED Talk didn't have 45 million views. It had about 11,000 views.
Yeah.
But one of those viewers was MrBeast. Jimmy saw the TED Talk about my goal of ending needless blindness in the world. He was touched by it. And he reached out and he called me about 3 months ago. When he called, he said, hey, it's MrBeast. And I want to do free surgery all around the world for 1,000 people in 3 weeks. And I'd never heard of him. And I almost hung up.
Yeah, right.
But instead I Googled him, and it turns out it's all real. And here we are.
Yeah. So, I mean, did that seem like a daunting timeline to do 1,000 people, or to help out restoring the vision of 1,000 blind people in that short amount of time?
So I'm the chief medical officer of a charity called C International, and C does 200 trips a year around the world to 50 different countries, doing free cataract surgery for poor and blind people around the world. So we had the infrastructure in place, and we had some trips planned, and Jimmy sponsored it all. The big challenge was I had to find people right here in Jacksonville. And when people come into my office and they're blind and they can't afford surgery, we just do it. So we don't have a waiting list, and we didn't have 40 or 50 people lined up, but we called every free clinic and every homeless clinic and every place we could find. And we found 40 people in and around Jacksonville, completely blind, unable to afford cataract surgery. And we lined them all up and did them all in one day.
Wow,
what a problem to have. You just can't find enough blind people.
We need more people to help.
Do you charge anybody for surgery?
So I do actually have a business and charge paying patients as well. I should add that.
So Sabrina asked this question before we got started here, Dr. Levinson, and obviously you pulled this amazing feat off with MrBeast for this YouTube video. But what is the biggest barrier for these people who are blind? And can you address the fact that I think in the video you mentioned like 50% of blind people can have their vision restored with this cataract procedure? Is that accurate? And what's the biggest barrier, to her question, from people who aren't getting this done?
Yeah. So here in the United States, roughly 4 million people a year get cataract surgery. It's one of the most common, one of the most cost-effective, and one of the most successful of surgeries. And cataracts are not a leading cause of blindness in the United States, but there are roughly 700 million people in the world who live on less than $2 a day. And 90% of all the blindness in the world is people who live on less than $2 a day, and half of all their blindness is related to cataracts.
Yeah, wow.
Cataract surgery overseas costs maybe $50 or $75, so it's not out of reach for for our pocketbooks, but there are many poor people in the world for whom $100 is an unimaginable sum.
Sure, yeah, I can
Those
imagine.
are the people in whom blindness is concentrated.
Well, you're behind this Gift of Sight program that is amazing. It was highlighted on this, and MrBeast did a big donation at the end. Tell me about this surgery that you do, this procedure that you do that restores vision for these people. And in the case of the YouTube video, 1,000 people had their vision restored. Is it a really complicated thing? What's going on that allows this kind of miracle to happen?
Yeah, there's a lens inside our eye, and the lens inside the eye is supposed to be crystal clear. And as we get older, and then sometimes in the setting of illness or injury, the lens gets cloudy. We call that cloudiness a cataract. And it makes, it's like looking through a dirty window. It's really hard to see through a cataract. And the surgery they do here in the United States is simple in the sense that it takes 10 minutes and it doesn't hurt at all. And it's 99% effective. But of course, it's very sophisticated and very complex technology that's required to do it. When we do it overseas, we've modified the technique in such a way that we can do it for $25 or $30 using not sophisticated technology, but modifications that are readily accessible. And we've developed a means of doing this surgery that suddenly makes it accessible to the world's poorest and blindest people.
Is it
That's
just me, or is it insane to hear a physician talk about a surgery being $25 to $30?
Yeah.
There's material costs of the surgery in a place like the Philippines.
And here's the thing. The thing that blows my mind is usually you would equate the cost of a surgery or a procedure with how stunning the outcome is and how much things could be improved in your life. And this is a damn game changer. You're going from being blind to being able to see things, and it's a huge, huge change in these people's lives. And so Dr. Levinson, the Gift of Sight program, doing all this great stuff, MrBeast with his video, the #1 video on YouTube, bringing a lot more attention to this. I'm sure that's going to raise a lot of awareness about this. And the thing that I continue to think about from watching the video was, you do this all the time. You've done this many, 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 many times. Is it still awesome to you to see the reaction of these people after the procedure when all of a sudden they can see again?
My wife teases me. She says that I typically in my normal daily life, I don't bring sight to the blind. I bring sight to the slightly blurry, because most of the people operating here in the United States are a little blurry. And we fix them because they're having trouble driving at night or they're having trouble reading the print in the newspaper. But when you operate on somebody who's completely blind, it's just stunning. You can't help but feel like crying when you're done. Yeah. You take the drape off and they can suddenly see, and all of a sudden they've been released from this world of blackness. Their life has changed immeasurably. And it still moves me to the point of tears every time I do it.
Yeah.
God, I'm sure. How rewarding.
People seeing their kids for the first time and stuff, it's absolutely wild. So MrBeast reaches out to you, Dr. Levinson, and he comes up with this idea. You're like on board. We're going to do this. What's it like when him and his crew arrive at your place in Jacksonville and you're going to get underway here? Was it mayhem? Was it chaos? What was it like?
It was a little bit of, on the one hand, it's a surgical procedure in a surgical setting, and it's a serious medical procedure. And on the other hand, it's a Hollywood set. He's got a staff of 30 and 8 different cameras and sound and booms. And on the third hand, it's a bunch of 20-year-olds. They're just a bunch of kids having fun. So we had to balance this 3-wing circus, and a serious medical procedure and a Hollywood set and a bunch of 20-year-olds having fun. And we had a wonderful day negotiating with each other on all those different variables.
All right. And like the important thing, I guess, for you would be that this was something that was actually showing what you're doing in the correct light, not making fun of any of these people, not doing that. And that was not the case at all here. There was a very, very sweet, the way they kind of filmed this and put it all together. So you were happy with the way the MrBeast video came out?
Yeah. There are 100 ways one could have done it. And I think they did several iterations before they came upon this one. But it was suitable. His audience is largely younger, and they're not in the mood for something serious and heartrending. They want to be entertained while they're learning something new. And I think he did a beautiful job of presenting the problem, presenting the solution, and doing so in a way that makes everybody happy and makes their hearts full.
Well, I know this video was only posted one day ago, but it has 46 million views. I'm imagining you've seen some sort of response from this.
I'm not sure yet. We are hopeful that we can raise some money. and do some more good in the world with it.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to see that happen. We're very hopeful that it will happen. I represent a charity called Sea International. The website is seeintl.org.
Okay.
And if anybody's interested in helping, Sea uses volunteer doctors from America who travel across the world, working alongside host doctors, building their capacity, teaching them the skills, providing the materials. And we do free surgery for hundreds of thousands of people a year around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've probably heard this a lot of times, but you're doing some pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, truly.
That's
And you think
really, really cool.
1,000 people are getting their sight, and this is something that has been, a passion of yours for so many years. And with 1,000 people getting their sight, there are still even thousands more that could use this kind of help.
Yeah.
So, knowing that there's still a place for people to go and contribute is wonderful. So thank you so much for what you do.
And there's no reason that we should have needless blindness in the world. There's no reason that we should have preventable blindness. The return on investment for restoring sight to somebody pays the cost of the surgery. So I think if we all, as a species, put our minds together, we could end the problem of needless blindness in our lifetime.
Wow. Dr. Levinson, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate you.
You're awesome.
Keep doing great things. Seeinternational.com, seeintl.com, I believe. .org. Okay.
.org.
Seeinternational.org, seintl.org. Go there, check this out. Watch the MrBeast video. I think it'll be, not to use a cheesy pun, but eye-opening because it was fun and really revealing for me to watch it.
And let me add one more thing. Our local charity here in Jacksonville for people in Florida who are blind is visionispriceless.org.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Levinson, and you have yourself a great day.
Thanks so much.
All right, there he goes.
What a cutie.
The doctor featured in this MrBeast video that's exploding right now on YouTube. I didn't even know that was a thing, man. Like, I did not even know that so many people could be helped by that. And it
makes you wonder why there is anybody just going around needlessly blind.
Right, yeah. I mean, imagine living your life and being completely blind, he said, in some of these cases. Like, eyes closed, blind, completely blind, and then being able to, in just a couple of minutes, get a procedure done that restores your vision. Oh, man, we've come a long way as humans. And in all the bad, there's a lot of good things like that going on.
And then I think about us, I'm like, what are we doing?
We gotta get something going over here. We gotta fix some things.
We make people laugh.
We need to save some people. All right, check that out. It's called 1,000 Blind People See for the First Time over on YouTube.